the accidental heart. The crystal chandeliers of La Bella Vista cast a warm, golden glow across the elegant dining room. Emma Martinez stood near the kitchen entrance, smoothing down her crisp white blouse and adjusting her red skirt. She had worked as a server at this upscale restaurant for 3 years, but tonight felt different. Tonight, she had accepted an offer she wasn't entirely proud of. $200. That's what Jessica Sterling had promised her. $200 to subtly ruin a blind date. All Emma had to do was spill a drink, mess up the order, be just clumsy enough to make the evening uncomfortable. Jessica had been bitter, her voice sharp over the phone. "He's my ex," she had explained. "He doesn't deserve to move on this easily." Emma needed that money desperately. Her son's school trip was coming up, and the electricity bill was overdue. Single mothers didn't have the luxury of moral high ground, she had told herself. It was just one dinner, just one uncomfortable evening for strangers she would never see again. She watched as the hostess led a man to table 7, the one she had been told to watch. He was tall, with dark hair styled neatly back, wearing a charcoal gray suit that fit him perfectly. But it wasn't his expensive clothes that caught Emma's attention. It was the nervous way he adjusted his collar, the gentle smile he gave the hostess, the way he pulled out the chair and waited. This was Daniel Cooper, the CEO Millionaire, the man she was supposed to sabotage. Minutes passed slowly. Emma could see Daniel checking his phone, then putting it away. He ordered water and waited patiently, his fingers drumming a soft rhythm on the white tablecloth. There was something kind in his face, something that made Emma's stomach twist with guilt. Then she arrived, a woman in a stunning red dress, her blonde hair styled in perfect waves. She looked nervous too, touching her necklace as she approached the table. Daniel stood immediately, his face lighting up with a genuine smile. He pulled out her chair with careful attention. "Sarah?" he asked, his voice carrying a warmth that reached across the room. "Daniel," she replied, her cheeks flushing pink. "It's so nice to finally meet you in person." Emma watched them from her position near the bar. They looked good together. Natural Sarah was laughing at something Daniel said, her hand moving gracefully as she spoke. Daniel leaned forward, listening with complete focus, as if she was the only person in the entire restaurant. Emma's chest tightened. This wasn't fair. These were real people, not characters in Jessica's revenge fantasy. This was a single father, according to Jessica's bitter monologue, trying to find companionship after years of putting his daughter first. This was a woman who had probably taken hours getting ready, building up her courage for this one evening. But the money. Emma thought of her own son, Michael, and his excited face when he talked about the science museum trip. She thought of the disconnect notice on her kitchen counter. She picked up a tray, placed a glass of red wine on it, and walked slowly toward table 7. Her hands felt unsteady. The room seemed too bright, too warm. She could do this. She had to do this. As she approached, she could hear their conversation more clearly. Daniel was talking about his daughter. "Lily just turned 8 last month," he said, his voice full of pride. "She's obsessed with astronomy right now. We've been camping in the backyard every clear night, looking at stars." Sarah's smile was radiant. "That's beautiful. My nephew is the same age. Maybe they would get along." Emma reached the table. The wineglass wobbled slightly on her tray. All she had to do was stumble, let it tip toward Sarah's beautiful red dress, apologize profusely, and collect her $200. She raised the tray. Then Daniel looked up at her, and their eyes met. His expression was kind, patient. "Thank you," he said before she had even set anything down. Just a simple courtesy that most customers never bothered with. Emma's hand steadied. She carefully, deliberately, placed the wineglass on the table without spilling a single drop. "Your server will be right with you," she said quietly, and walked away. Her heart was pounding. She had just thrown away $200, money she desperately needed. But as she glanced back at table 7, seeing Daniel and Sarah laughing together, seeing the gentle way he poured water into her glass, she felt something shift inside her chest. Some things were more valuable than money. Some moments were too precious to destroy. Emma served other tables throughout the evening, but she kept glancing toward table 7. The date was going beautifully. Daniel and Sarah talked for hours. Their plates barely touched, completely absorbed in each other. When Sarah excused herself to the restroom, Daniel sat back with a small, contented smile that made him look younger. As Emma passed by to clear a nearby table, Daniel spoke. "Excuse me." She turned, her pulse quickening. Had he somehow known? Had Jessica told him? "I just wanted to say thank you," Daniel said, "for the excellent service tonight. This evening has been really special." Emma felt tears prick at her eyes. "I'm glad," she managed to say. "You both seem very happy." "I am," Daniel said simply. Then he paused, studying her face with unexpected perception. "Are you all right?" The question caught her off guard. When was the last time anyone had asked her that? "Yes," she said, her voice barely a whisper. "I'm fine, thank you for asking." When Sarah returned, Emma watched Daniel stand again, pulling out her chair with the same careful attention as before. They were good people. They deserved this happiness. At the end of the night, as Daniel and Sarah prepared to leave, Emma saw him leave an envelope on the table, after they walked out together, laughing and making plans to meet again. Emma approached to clear the table. Inside the envelope was a tip, but not just any tip. $300 and a handwritten note on La Bella Vista stationery. Thank you for your kindness tonight. You didn't have to be good at your job, but you were. That matters. Emma's hands trembled as she held the note. He had known, somehow, he had known. Maybe Jessica had warned him. Maybe he had sensed her hesitation. But instead of anger, he had responded with generosity. She tucked the money carefully into her apron pocket and looked around the nearly empty restaurant. The chandelier still glowed warmly. The candles still flickered on white tablecloths. Everything looked the same, but Emma felt different. She had been paid to ruin love, but instead she had protected it. And somehow, in that choice, she had found something valuable within herself. Something that couldn't be bought or sold, that her son would get to go on his field trip after all. But more importantly, Emma had learned that integrity wasn't a luxury she couldn't afford. It was the one thing she couldn't afford to lose. As she walked home that night under the stars, Emma thought about Daniel and Sarah, about second chances and new beginnings, and she smiled, knowing that somewhere in the city, a single father and a kind woman were probably looking up at those same stars, planning their next date. Some endings, she realized, were really just beautiful beginnings.